Now, what's going on there, folks? Earthmaster here. September 10, 2018, 9:33. I was going to say 8:33. 9:33 p.m. here, my time. And going to do an update video in regards to the activity that's about to hit the North Carolina region there along the East Coast with Hurricane Florence. Possibly making landfall there as a Category 4 hurricane. Now, this is still a very, very developing situation, so to speak, and all the models, although all the weather models are showing and agreeing with certain locations here for landfall and definitely reaching, it already is a Category 4 hurricane. Let me go into that real quick here before I show you guys the discussion from NOAA. But here's the latest information from Wonderground in regards to Hurricane Florence. Last updated looks like 8 p.m. so just about an hour and a half ago, my time. It was moving west-northwest at about 11 miles per hour. Wind, sustained winds at 140 miles per hour. Pressure at 944 MB. And it's definitely continuing to gain strength. We're looking at some wind gusts. See where the wind gusts went to here. Storm details. Here we go. Anyway, you know, this here's the details from, well, I guess it's the National Hurricane Center here in Miami. I'm not going to read all this stuff right here, but I will provide a link on here for you folks to check this out. They're just posting all the relevant information and warnings. It's a life-threatening situation. I guess there is some evacuations going on in the South Carolina and North Carolina region. I think on Wednesday, I believe. But anyway, folks, this thing is headed towards the East Coast, and we're still looking at some specific areas of interest here. If I can figure out what I'm doing. It's pretty late and I've had a long day, let me tell you folks. It's been one of those days, and it's going to continue tomorrow, that's for sure. So here we go. We're still looking right around at least the eye wall area looks around 8 p.m. on Thursday, but definitely sometime around morning time on Thursday is when they're going to start feeling the brunt of the Category 4 hurricane. And it's definitely expected to be Category 4, which is 130 to 156 miles per hour. Like I said, it looks as though it's reading now maximum sustained winds of 138 gusts up to 167 miles per hour. I mean, that is not some kite flying weather right there. That's more or less like crazy stuff. I mean, I've never experienced that type of wind. So definitely some damaging wind with that hurricane right now, Hurricane Florence, that will continue as it makes its way northwestward, northwestward at about 11 miles per hour. Everything still on track for landfall around the North Carolina region here. I'm going to show you guys this weather map here on the Tropical Tidbit station here. Forecast model. Now, if this holds to be true, this is going to be some serious damage for these folks. Either way, they're getting lots of rain and they're getting lots of wind. Whether they like it or not, the best thing to do is be prepared. If you live in that region, we got the Jacksonville, North Carolina region. Just over here in this region, right over here. I'm going to put this thing, or I'm going to advance this here just a couple frames here, and you guys can see exactly where this eye wall lands at. And it's a pretty scary situation here. Along that area, you see this little cove of a spike right there. that's some serious wind, and definitely going to be a lot of rain on that north side of the system there. Like I mentioned here, Jacksonville over here, going to get hit really hard. The eye wall tends to make its way a little, well, it pretty much scatters itself and then moves off towards the north. At least this weather model shows it. We'll have to see as it gets closer. These are always being updated. But this is just a simulated infrared satellite image of the day on Thursday when this thing is getting really close to the area right there in North Carolina. So, you know, on past weather models, it looked as though maybe it was just a little bit to the southwest, a little bit more. So it is making a little bit more northwestern turn right here. Which either way, it's still bad in this region here. Just a pretty scary situation here. This thing's going to drop massive amounts of rainfall. Unbelievable amount. Like I said, there's going to be some evacuations mandatory and whatnot over there as well. I will cover that a little bit more in detail Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm going to probably start up the live stream as more of a hurricane coverage than earthquakes. I will keep the earthquake 3D globe up, but I will provide live data in regards to Hurricane Florence and the track and radar, current radar imagery and current conditions of the hurricane as it makes its way towards the North Carolina region. Folks in Virginia up there as well need to be prepared. Lots of rainfall headed your way as well in that beautiful state. So it's a scary situation, folks. Like I said, I mentioned before, this thing may stall out, and we'll have to take a look at this as time progresses towards the day on Thursday. It's not going to go anywhere, folks. It's going to sit around there and dump some unbelievable amount of water vapor onto the ground. Last time I checked, it's probably going to be measured in feet. 30 inches or more predicted once that's all said and done. I've seen some higher amounts that just blew me away, but we'll just have to see how this plays out. Either way, it's a beautiful storm, and it can do some deadly damage out there, unfortunately. This right here is from the NOAA.gov website. Florence changes little in strength during the past several hours. Hurricane and storm surge watch is likely to be issued on Tuesday. Right now, no watches or warnings apparently for these folks. Here it mentions about the maximum sustained winds near 140 miles an hour with of course higher gusts. Florence is a Category 4 hurricane on the hurricane wind scale. Some strengthening is expected during the next 36 hours, and Florence is expected to be an extremely dangerous major hurricane through Thursday. Hurricane force winds extend outwards up to 40 miles from the center, which is the eye, and tropical storm force winds extend upward or outward up to 150 miles from that eye, the center of the storm there. Latest minimum central pressure estimated from the Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunter aircraft is at 944 MB, which on the barometer scale is 27.88 inches. So anyway, it's a big deal, folks. It's a good idea to be prepared over there on the East Coast. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, I'm unable to make it over there. I really want to experience something like that. I know people are like, "Oh, you're crazy." You know, it's devastation. It's chaos, and I understand that. But it's definitely something I want to do once, at least once in my lifetime here, or rather soon. if I didn't have this daytime job holding me down, which ultimately pays my bills, right? I can't stop my day job because, well, I don't make anything here on YouTube for the most part. It's just very minimal at that on the ads that are run on certain videos. But if I didn't have this day job, I would definitely be over there live streaming this thing just for the heck of it and for the experience and of course the thrill that every storm chaser seeks while they're out there chasing storms and waiting for hurricanes to cover over them. Earthquake activity, folks, fairly minor today. Not really going to go into it too much, but I will state that there's still some deep earthquake activity over here on the western part of the Pacific Ring of Fire, and of course over here around the Fiji Islands region as well, some really deep earthquake activity, 576 kilometers deep with that 5.1 there, and also another really deep earthquake over here, 609 kilometers over there in this part of the plate section over here. So it's on the move once again. Pacific plate still pretty active when it comes to deep movement. No major quakes to report, but that could always change. Anyway, folks, I'm gonna jump off here. It's been a long day. I'm pretty tired. Hope everyone has a good night. Stay safe over there on the East Coast if that's where you're at. Like I said, Wednesday we will pull up the stream and broadcast as more hurricane coverage, and I'll have of course radar imagery and all the latest information in regards to Hurricane Florence as it makes its way towards the East Coast and North Carolina region, and of course Virginia area as well, South Carolina included. But it's going to affect a large area, a large portion of the East Coast over there. Okay, folks, have a good night. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but that's what I get for no sleep and working. Peace out. Have a good night.